Hey Pods, my name is Tanya Boyle and you're welcome to Black Multipod. And today we're talking about the concept of multipotentiality. So stay tuned if you're interested in knowing how the word came to be and obviously what the lifestyle is about.
Explain the concept of multipotentiality.
Right. So multipotentiality, let's start from the word, right? Multipotentiality is actually defined as someone with the ability to do so many things, someone of strong intellectual and artistic wiring to excel into more things. And so by things, we mean careers, passions, pursuits, and all of that stuff. So that's what the multipotentiality you tend to see on the dictionary. But the concept of multipotentiality dates really back to the Renaissance era, where you have people who excel in multiple passions, multiple pursuits, multiple careers, and sometimes you find them doing it one after the other or side by side or simultaneously. So there are different ways in which people express their own multipotentiality. So, but the concept really breaks down to that ability. And if you find in some journals, you'd see some people referenced as gifted children because they're able to excel in a lot of things. And sometimes it might be closely related things. For instance, the arts. So whilst you're in the arts, and that's where we'll talk about it later in the pod, but that's where you have the hyphenate. So in the arts, you have people who you say singer songwriter, you have actor, singer, dancer. So those are very industry specific. But multipotentiality on the broader spectrum kind of talks about people in very diverse areas. For instance, if we go to, in history, there's a word called polymath, which actually is what multipotentiality is about. But some people argue that multipotentiality and being a multipotentialite, which is like the person, the person who is a multipod, is is quite different from polymath because they kind of give polymath this highest level. Well, to be fair, that's like what we class as the highest level in the whole spectrum of multipotentiality, and that's where you are a master of very diverse industries. For instance, a perfect reference in history is Leonardo da Vinci, who was a sculptor, an engineer, theorist, scientist. Those are very wide. And then he was honing all of them at the time. He was doing very well at the time. So that's the concept of multipotentiality, really, where people are able to excel, not just try, but excel in these things or have the flair. Now, I know that there are levels to how you train yourself in these abilities, but it just talks about that ability, the innate ability, the inborn ability for you to excel in multiple passions, careers, call it anything really.
Who is a multipod?
A multipod is someone who thrives on two or more passions simultaneously, cyclically, or one after the other. Right. So the word multipod, now let's unpack this. The word multipod is an alternative variation of multipotentialite. Now, multipotentialite is who a multipod should be, as suggested by Emily Wapnick, who kind of has given that word its popularity. So if you go on the dictionary, multipotentialite is not exactly a word that has been there. There's multipotentiality, but they needed to have Emily thought it wise to give like a name to the noun. Somebody who is a multipod or a multipotentialite is somebody who expresses multipotentiality. So that's the word. It's quite informal at the minute, but when you go online, you tend to see the word now popularized by her, and then in her book, and of course her TED talk. Then multipod is, there's it's a lot of naming and labeling, but anyways, we're running with it. Multipod, that's what I choose to take as mine, and I choose to use it as an umbrella term because it's shorter than multipotentialite. It's a lot easier because when you type multipotentialite on Google or anywhere, if you're say sending the text, you tend to get the red thing that shows that it's a wrong spelling. So and I feel like it's too long. And somebody from Emily's community called the Potivas, kind of suggested multipod would be like the most appropriate term to use to shorten multipotentiality. So when you hear me say multipod, I'm referring to a multipotentialite, and I'm also referring to, at the same time, somebody who expresses multipotentiality. So these are just word variations, it's just the semantics, really. So a multipod is, like I've explained earlier, is somebody who thrives on two or more passions, pursuits, careers, endeavors, and not necessarily excels in them, but just has the ability, because you really cannot measure diverse industries in the same tape. So, but that's what the word is: somebody who actually expresses that ability. You have the willpower, you have the curiosity, you have the artistic and inborn tenacity to run with two or more things, really.
How do you know you're a multipod?
I think the first step or the first thing to know that you're a multipod is you're always curious. You're always curious and you're hardly satisfied. Restless will be the word. You're very restless. And in terms of being, how being restless and being curious is really intertwined. You're curious, you're restless, you want to know, and you want to do. Now, that's the first thing. The second thing is, in your curiosity, you figured that you can do the things that you're curious about. So I might be curious about, say, music, right? And I am good at it. I find that, I have the basics. I mean, when it comes to vocal singing, the basics is having a great voice. And you find that you have a great voice. And then you go further as knowing how to play the keyboard, and you're also good at it. And then you're curious enough to now say, I love the sciences. And then you go into science and you excel, or you're able to learn and actually, you know so much and be very interested in science and probably end up being a pharmacist alongside the other things you do. So it's that curiosity, that ability that you have it, and it's like a burning desire, really. You have it, I can do this and this, but like I always say, I think it's because of the societal pressure of settling into one and niching down and picking one of the many talents you have, or one of the many abilities you have. That's where people tend to miss it. But knowing how to know you're multipod, obviously, is first having that curiosity. You find that you're always curious. You're not satisfied with being one thing, and you're not satisfied because you know that you can do other things. You can be more, and you want to be more. So that's how to know that curiosity, that level of curiosity, and of course, intelligence, really.
Why is this topic important to you?
I'll drink water to this. So, I've been on this journey for 6 years now. Yeah. And it's very important to me because at the time I started researching about this, there weren't enough materials to get information from. And not many people like myself, in terms of skin color, were talking about this. So it got to a point where I think it was around 2017-ish. That was when I can say I really started getting really curious, because I was worried for myself. I was worried. I needed to know if I was okay, right? I was worried for myself because I'd done so many things in the past leading up to that time. In the corporate world, I'd gone by different titles. I've worn many hats, you know, and in the creative world, I've also had different stuff to do. So I got to the point where I wanted to brand myself. And when you want to brand yourself, they tend to say, oh, niche down, get a topic, that. So it was hard for me And I needed to know if it was a case of being indisciplined or it was just how I was. So I started going, I started going online, I started reading journals, and I was like, I think the things I searched was, is it okay to want to be XYZ at the same time? And then I kept reading and it kept taking me to different places and I explored further deep. And I stumbled upon Emily Wapnick's video where she talked about why some of us do not have one true calling. Now, that video changed everything for me. And then I went further to read about her and her materials and everything that has to do with the word, and that was where I realized that, oh, I'm not alone in this. I'm not confused, because I was depressed at the time. I just wanted to pick one, but I find that which of them do I really pick and like, just leave everything else? I can't really, and that's how multipods are. You would find that you cannot, and because that's in the first place you're not meant to fit in anyways. But I think because we run with this idea of expertise, everybody just wants to hone an authority and be like the authority of this and be authority of that or brand socially as XYZ, and then Instagram and Facebook and all of the social apps are not even helping matters because, well, they have that thing where you have to put the writer, producer, something. So if you're multiple, what do you put? So I mean it's important to me because, like I said, when I started reading about it, it was still at the time. I mean, it still is really at the time where people were just talking about, no, just be this person, be one person, be that. And then I found a couple of articles saying another thing that yes, you can be. It's okay for you to be, And I chose to stand on that side because that's my truth. Okay, and now it's now very personal to me because I have lots of mentees, and fans. I would say I'll call them that, or acquaintances. Sorry, on social media who have asked me lots of questions, and I feel like it's about time we talk about this in mainstream breath. So that's why there's a book, there's this podcast, there's a community I'm building, there's a newsletter off LinkedIn, just talking about people who are wired like me, where we tend to talk about our stories, share our experiences, learn from each other, because there are people who have gone on, with their own multipotentiality, but they're not talking about it. They're just being that, So it's important to me because when you check on the pedestal of people currently, I did a search, I think last week, about the word multipod. And guess what blew my mind?
What?
My name was most in the search, in almost all the search. It was just very few people that, are talking about it because it popped up my LinkedIn page, popped up Twitter, popped up Instagram, TikTok, So this is me dedicating all my channels to this course. So I feel like this is actually my calling to actually talk about it because I mean, I've never been so passionate about a topic like this ever before. Championed other causes, but this is so important to me because it's my truth and my struggle. And I know so many people out there are in that race because the truth is, I get DMs from people and I'm shocked that it's happening so soon off this podcast, this podcast asking, oh, so there's a name for this. Oh, I didn't know. The other day I posted something, which is we're going to talk about in later episodes, how to introduce yourself as a multipod. And somebody was like, this is exactly my problem. So there's a lot of things to talk about on this topic, and that's why it's so important to me to actually talk about it. And the fact that, with all humility, it happened so soon, but I'm about the only person I know, because I've really checked, of this skin color that's talking about this, and because we feel, from where we're from, Africans, we kind of feel, oh no, it has to be like this, like that. So I want to be that person who a black boy or a black girl can look and say, oh, this person is of my color and is talking about this. It's not foreign, in quote. It's not, oh, that's their issue, that's their problem. No, this hits home. And I feel like, there's need for us to really, really talk about it. More people, more Africans, more people of black origin to talk about this, because it's our society. Over here in the West, there's down a bit of that embrace. You have somebody like Sarah Beth Burke, she has a book called More Than My Title. So she's championing the hybrid professional title. That's the multipod in the workplace that works across, that works in the intersection of different departments. She's championing it in the US, where she is advocating for that inclusion, where you can hire me I can work in 3 departments because I can. That's what she's running with. Now, over here, you have people who are, just talking about it casually, but it's not a topic, with the black race per se. We're just used to just be one thing. And it's funny how we have so many multipods, so many of them. Do I start from Jamie Foxx? Do I then go to Beyonce? Then Eddie Murphy? You tend to call them multi-hyphenates because they're in the arts, but trust me, some of these people do not even, it's just the artistic side you see. Some of them have probably offices, they have roles in the corporate world, that you do not know of. I don't know if you know Easy, the Mr. Easy, the singer. So Easy is in between tech and music, because he has like a tech startup. He's a dev. And then obviously he's a singer, So, but when you see people like that, you just express it. They don't really talk about it. So I actually have dedicated my channels to being that person that would really talk about it. And God bless me, someday I'm able to bring these people to actually talk about their struggle, just to inspire someone else who's going through that or who needs that level of direction. Thank you so much for listening in. Thank you for watching. And I really do appreciate. Thank you. Make sure you keep subscribing, following us on social media at Black Multipod, and make sure you tell somebody about us, because we're many and we're here to stay. See you on the next episode. Bye.